Welcome back to the Knitterarium podcast. My name is Ruth. I'm your host and I'm coming to you from Westmeath in Ireland, where I live. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to spend it with me while we chat all things knitting, and I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend it with me. The places that you can find me online are on my website knitterarium.com. You can find me on Instagram as Knitterarium, and you can find our Ravelry group Knitterarium. If you just search under the groups tab on Ravelry for Knitterarium, you will find us there. Any of the links that I talk about and any of the show notes will be down below in the description box. That's where you'll be able to find all of those things. So a little bit of admin stuff I want to get out of the way at the start. The Moon Garden cowl, which is what I'm wearing now. We have currently a knit along running for that over in the Ravelry group. The Moon Garden Knit Along, and if you use the hashtag MoonCal on your Ravelry project pages or on any social media posts, we'll be able to follow along with your project. And it is running from, it started Monday, just gone, Monday the 22nd of January, and it is running until Friday the 23rd of February. And as I said, that's over in the Knitterarium Ravelry group, and it is for these the Moon Garden cowl. This is a Knitterarium pattern, and it is now available on Ravelry. We also have the Knitterarium challenge thread, which is a chatter thread, and the official challenge post thread, which is over in as well in the Ravelry group. And if you want to join in that, please do check the links below for that. That'll bring you to it, and you can read all about it. And there is great progress being made this week in everybody making progress to reach their personal goals that they have set for this year. So if you are at all interested in that, please do pop along. We'd love to have you join us. And I think that takes care of all the admin stuff. So I think we'll just get started, and we'll get started with the knitting. So we shall. This week has been relatively productive. If you're following along with me on Instagram, you may have seen just when I posted last week's post, I had been debating about whether I was actually going to continue podcasting or not. I'd gotten so out of not doing it, and as I'm not someone who's naturally chatty, and I have to put a lot of thought into what I'm going to put into each episode. I did have doubts as to whether I was going to continue podcasting or not, and there were a couple of ladies in particular who had pointed out to me how I needed to be comfortable doing it, and to maybe record when I had something I wanted to say, and when I when I had work in progress to show. Thank you, Nellie. That was an extremely good point, and something that I needed to remember. Emma also so rightly pointed out how I suppose how different I suppose what I brought was to maybe what everybody else was doing, and it was a unique way of looking at it, and one I hadn't thought of, and so I just wanted to say thank you to both of you ladies that you had made such great points that I hadn't actually thought about. And so when I had thought about them some more, I decided that I'd keep going. I am taking away a lot of the structure of the podcast insofar as a lot of the regimented sections, and I just want to talk. And as we're going through the projects, I'm going to add in the chitty chit chat, shall we say, of the old episodes as we go along. I think it's going to be easier. It'll feel a lot more natural for me, I think, as well. So that's the plan anyway. So we'll see how it goes. So we will. So anyway, I got sidetracked. Back to the knitting. This week, what have I been working on? We will start with the socks, because I put in quite a good bit of work onto these socks this past week. Let me see. I have one of them finished. They're not blocked now at the moment, so this is sock 1. It's finished and off the needles, and yes, I am kind of scrunching up the top a little bit, just so that there is a little surprise left for when this pattern is released. Sock number 2, I'm on the cuff. So you'll see I'm on the cuff up here. And that is sock number 2. So I just have a couple of rows left to put in on that. As I said, I got great work done on it towards the end of last week, and then I sort of forgot about it. It's not where I forgot about it, but I got busy with other things and I got distracted. I forgot my cup of tea. Let me see. So that is currently with testers, and it will hopefully be going to an editor soon. I have to find a new tech editor. So I'm hoping to find someone who fits me and my style, and so I have a few names and I'm looking into some, and so as soon as I find one, it will go off to an editor, and then I'll be able to be released and ready for you all. Let me see. The yarn I'm knitting it in is Eden Cottage yarns. I'm using the Tempo 4-ply base, which is 75% wool and 25% nylon. And this is the ball band from Eden Cottage yarns. I don't have the business card. So this pattern has contrasting toes, and I'm using this. This is the Dianthus colorway. So it's this lovely. It's a lovely pink. It's really lovely. And the main color then that I'm using is this, and it is called Whispering Grass. There's a better. So that's the color I'm using for the main part of it. So they're the two colors, Whispering Grass and Dianthus. Let me see what else I have to say about those. I am knitting those on 2.25 needles. I knit the magic loop, and I used my, if I can get it out, I used my Chalkboard needles for those. We can just take a look at those. I'm using my Chalkboard needles for those, and as I said, I knit those magic loop. The instructions will have toe up and cuff down instructions on them. I think that's all I have to say about these. As I said, I worked predominantly on these towards the end of last week, because I wanted to get them into testing. And with one sock done, I was able to do that while I was finishing off the second one. And I'm really pleased at how they're going. I have debated about working a second pair of them in the Dianthus colourway. The light is being a bit funny coming in there. Okay, just hang on a moment there. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. I hope I haven't made it too dark now. The light has just been, it's quite overcast and rainy here at the moment. So, and then when the sun does come out, it's really quite glary. So I'm sure he'll go in a minute, in behind the clouds, and we'll be, as I see big rain clouds coming across the sky here. And I'll be in darkness in a moment, which I seem to be in now. Okay, I think actually we'll just press on. So so that was the new sock pattern that I was working on. Then I had to switch back to a little bit of lace, and the other thing that you may have noticed on my Instagram feed, it seems to have been the week for taking stock and evaluating quite a lot of things this week. I think both personally and definitely business wise, and I'm deciding I have decided that I am switching up my releases to possibly twice yearly. So there are a few items that I'm working on right now, such as those socks. There is a new shawl, which I actually meant to bring up to show you all, but I'll do that in maybe next week's episode, and possibly one more pair of socks, which I'll be talking about shortly, and they will be released this spring. But all of the releases, and what I'm going to show you now, are going to be for the autumn, and I'm going to release quite a few in the early autumn. So I have quite a few releases that I'm going to be releasing then. So possibly after the second pair of sock designs that I'm going to talk about in a moment, after that is released, there possibly won't be too much more until autumn. This is mainly to for the most part, you're rushing from one design, getting it ready and out, to the next design, and it's a constant battle to keep on top of that too. I need this for this month, and this needs to go out this month, and no matter how well you think you are scheduling and how well you think you are ahead of the game, you're not. It's a constant race, and I just don't feel that it is the best for the patterns. So I don't. So much work and effort goes into designing them and putting them together, making sure that they're of a certain quality, that when they leave me and they go out to everybody, that that I'm happy with them, that I feel that I have given you the best that pattern and that design can be. That it just feels all too rushed. This you have to release monthly. You have to release monthly, or you don't stay current, or you don't stay in I suppose to the forefront of designing. And while there are some big names in our industry who I suppose always be to the forefront because they're so well known, I suppose certainly for perhaps my designs from Knitterarium, where they may not be as well known or as well spoken about, it can be so a little harder, and it is a risk taking, saying I'm only releasing twice a year, but at those 2 points in the year, whenever I decide that they are at those 2 points, I will release quite a good few patterns, perhaps 5 or 6, all in a very short concentrated space of time. It is a risk. I also feel that it will be better. I have a longer period of time between the releases to ensure that I am 100% happy with each pattern that goes out, and that it is what I had designed initially, that it meets that, and that it's not so rushed. So that is what I wanted to say about that. I think that's quite another tangent I went on there, but this particular pattern is the first one of those patterns that you are going to be seeing in autumn. I'm working away on it, and towards the end of last week, after I had finished sort of with the first sock and was making progress on the second, I did feel the need to just put that aside while I had a little bit of time with this, and while I put in some, because I am loving this design. I am really loving how this one is coming together. And the what I can tell you, that for all the releases that are coming come autumn, they all center around the theme of love. So they do. And as I said, I'm really pleased with how this one is going. I feel taking the pressure that this has to be released in a month's time or in 2 months' time, taking that pressure away is allowing me to ensure that the effort has gone into the end of it that it needs to go into my end of it, into that it is the best pattern that it can be, and that it meets my inspiration and my idea for what it is, because that's essentially what designing is. And when you purchase a pattern from whoever, but when you purchase a pattern from me, I want to ensure that you are getting the best idea that I had been inspired by. So I hope that makes sense. And as I said, it is a bit of a risk, because between now and then you could be very much forgotten about. So I suppose we'll see how it goes. As I said, that's what I feel is best, and that's all I can go with. So anyway, back to this shawl. Now I'm not going to be giving you any names. All I will tell you is that they all, for the autumn period, are all centered around the theme of love. That wasn't actually deliberate. Not this time. It wasn't deliberate. Sometimes I work to a theme, sometimes I don't. It just so happens that each piece that I had planned and I had thought about and had inspired, just when I stood back and I looked at each piece, when I looked at the whole period for autumn, they all centered around that theme. So the yarn I am using again is Eden Cottage yarns, and no more than last week, I might as well tell you now that pretty much most of what's coming in the autumn, actually most of what's coming in the spring, is going to be knit with Eden Cottage yarns. So we might as well just get that out there right now. So I'm using the Oakworth 4-ply base for this shawl pattern, and it is 100% New Zealand Polworth wool. I am using the colourway, this is Steel, so it's this lovely warm grey, so it is. So I'm using this is Steel, and then I am using this really, really pale pink. It is called Antique Rose, and it is such a pale, delicate pink. It's like a whisper of pink, so it is. It is so delicate and light, and I just love how it's working with the grey. So I've made quite a bit of progress on this. As I said, I am at I think maybe Friday, and definitely Friday and into Saturday, this was what I chose to work on. It's not every weekend I spend working, but I wanted to work on this piece, and this is what called to me. So I've quite a bit done. This is the pink section, and there is the grey section around here. Now this is I am showing you the back of it. I'm deliberately showing you the back of it, but this is how it is. And I just love how the two colours are. I just love how those two colours are working together, and it's really coming out just how I want it and just how I planned. So I'm quite pleased with that, and I'm really quite excited about it. And I have to say, Each of the pieces that I have planned for the autumn are, I'm excited about each one individually, so I am, as well as a whole. And it's been quite a while from I felt that excited about a whole range of pieces. So I did work on that towards the end of last week. So I'll pop those yarns back in here now and tidy up. Let me see. Next thing that I worked on. We'll talk about the socks. I'm just going to put that down here beside me. We'll talk about the socks that I am going to be, once I get the cuff finished on the other ones. I have caked up the wool. I've caked up the wool, and I know I have pattern notes written and scribbled down somewhere for these, so I better actually root them out, find them for this. This is going to be a new sock pattern, and as I said, this this is one of the last this is one of the last designs you're going to see this spring, and it's going to be another sock pattern, and it is with this gorgeous, this is the Woodland colorway from Eden Cottage Yarns. And this is on the Tempo 4 ply base. This is the green that I used in the Moon Garden Cowl, and it is such a wonderful green that I had to purchase a second skein of it because I wanted to design and create a pair of socks using it. It's such a wonderful green. I absolutely adore this green. So I have it caked up into two 50-gram balls, because like normal I'm going to knit those socks concurrently. And as I said, that is in the Tempo 4 ply, because that is the 75% wool and 25% nylon, and it's just perfect. It's just perfect for socks, so it is. That's the range that I also knit my herbarium jumper, and it is a wonderfully wearing yarn. It's absolutely fantastic. It is one of my go-to yarns, which I have to admit. So and that's in my gorgeous bag from Emma at Eldenwood Craft. So that is what I will be. That's what I will be moving on to. And I said I'm probably going to be still putting in quite a good few rows on that new shawl. So I am. So that's that. What did I work on next? That was on Saturday. I worked on the shawl. Sunday. Oh, Sunday here was the most dreadful day. We had some storms over the weekend, and we had dreadful rain all Saturday, kind of Saturday evening, Saturday night. And so when we woke up on Sunday morning, there were floods everywhere in the fields all around me. There was huge floods all in the fields. So we all just, the whole family, we lit the fire here in the living room, and the children put on movies, and we hibernated for the entire day, and it was wonderful. It was so relaxing. So it was just wonderful. Oh, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and it was just what I needed. So what I did do was, I spoke with you last week about my Chalkboard Crayon socks, and how the 2 at a time just wasn't working for me. So on Sunday morning, I decided I was going to separate them onto their own needle. Okay, I have this in a mess. They're all caught up. Okay, we'll put them on the side. So So I separated them. So this is, and you'll see I did put a few rows in on this one when I, because I took this one off the other needle, and while I was fixing it then I just put in a few more rows in it. Not much, because I did want to sort of try and finish off the other sock. And so these socks, all I really did with them is that small little bit there, and I did separate them onto a second 2.25 needle. Now this cable is a slight bit longer than what I prefer, but I still much prefer it this way than to 2 at a time. I'm afraid I just don't like it, and it was putting me off knitting these socks. And these are going to be such a gorgeous, fun pair of socks that it seems a shame not to knit them. This is some self-striping yarn from Strand Designs. Karina is an independent yarn dyer here in Ireland from Laois. I want to say Laois. I think Laois. This is her card anyway, Strand Designs. And this is called the Chalkboard, her Chalkboard colourway. And it is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon base, so it is. And I am just using some primary coloured minis that I had just for contrasting toes, heels and cuffs. I have a red, it's here, I need to ball it up. So I have this red that I'm going to use. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use this for heels or for cuffs, because I have a turquoise as well that matches, kind of like, you see the little turquoise flecks in them? So I have a turquoise that colour. So I'm going to use the turquoise. I'm not sure whether I'll use it for the heels and the red for the cuffs, or vice versa, but it'll be one way or the other. So I do have those socks. I do have those socks as well. And as I say, once the other ones are done, I'm quite a good bit ahead, so I can see that I'm probably going to get a few more rows in on these. And how do I manage to have these constantly in a jumble? Okay, so I have them sorted now. So that is the Chalkboard Crayon socks. So really all I did with those was separate them out. But as I said, I needed to do that so that I could feel happier working on it, because it's quite a shame to leave them sitting there, and it's not really terribly important if I don't knit them 2 at a time. I knit all my socks concurrently anyway, so they both end up done pretty much at the same time, so I think we'll just go with that. So then back to Sunday. Oh, and when I was relaxing, what I did work on was my Grace cardigan. I took Sunday and I worked on my Woodland Blanket, which I'll talk about in a moment, but I also worked on the Grace cardigan this is by Jane Richmond. I'm just going to find a picture of it. Oh, it's here. Okay, so this is the Grace cardigan here by Jane Richmond. So you'll see up at the top we have this, if that'll focus, we have this lace detail, and then the rest of it is just plain stockinette. And last week I had picked up for one of the first sleeves. Okay, I want to try and make sure I keep all the stitches on these needles. I don't know what way I showed it last week, but I ended up with stitches dropped and a whole lot. So I spent not ages, but I did spend some time fiddling around picking them up and make sure that they were correct. So I had picked up from here, I had picked up for the stitches, so I have knit quite a good bit. I have just a small amount more of decreases to go, and then I'm onto the cuff. Okay, so let's So as you can see, this is what I have done for the sleeve. And then this is the, as you will see, this is the lace detailing on the top, and that's just at the top of the cardigan, and then the rest of it is just plain stockinette. So this makes a great TV watching program, so it does. So while the children all had their my cushion behind me is falling. While the children were watching some movies and we watched some with them, we this made some great TV knitting, because it's just plain stockinette with just once I remembered to put the decreases in at the rate I was supposed to be putting them in. It was fine. It was brilliant. No, and I didn't forget. I put them in. So I did work on this quite a good bit. Let me see. The yarn I'm using for this is it here. This is the last ball I have. I'm going to need this to finish to do the other arm and to do the bands, button bands. I couldn't think of that, button bands. So this is this is Eton Cottage Yarns Milburn 4-ply, and this is 85% BFL and 15% silk, and this is so lovely and soft. So it is. This is the Autumn Fields colourway that I am knitting it in. Now I am knitting it on 4mm needles. That's what I'm knitting it on. Yeah, 4mm needles. And I've switched the sleeve over to DPNs. I think it's a smaller. Oh, I thought I lost a little stitch. I thought it was. I think the pattern called for 3.5, but I made gauge on a 4mm, so I did. So that's the needle that I am using. So it's very nearly finished. As I say, when I'm working on the other pieces, this tends to only get worked on at the weekends, but and depending on how I feel at the weekend, whether I work on a work piece or not, I may decide to work the entire weekend on this and try and get it as near complete as possible. But I'm really loving that, and I can't wait to be able to have it off the needles and to wear it. So that's what I did work on. The other thing I worked on was my crochet along blanket, but I'm going to show that to you in a moment. I'll come back to that now in a minute. On Monday, we started the Moon Garden Carol in the Ravelry group. Now I don't have the pattern printed out. So anyway, this is the Moon Garden Cowl that I'm wearing today. So we started that over in the Ravelry group. I'll put that back down there. So in my gorgeous, oh, I love this bag, Game of Thrones bag. I started, okay, I started, and I mean I just started and no more. The rest of this week sort of got a bit busy, but I started my Moon Garden Cowl. Whoops, hang on, I have to bring the yarn. So this is my tiny start. So it has a shawl. It has a shawl front, and then it joins in the round, and then we knit the remainder of the cowl up. So the yarn I'm using is this Black Tulip colourway from Eton Cottage Yarns, again in the Milburn 4-ply, and I love this yarn. It comes already balled up, so there's no kinking up the yarn or anything. It's ready to go. And the other colour I'm using in it is this wicker colourway. Isn't this gorgeous? And this is like a really soft, warm, pinky beige kind of colour. It's just, oh, this is just such a wonderful colour, this wicker. So these are the two colourways I'm using, that I'm going to be using for my Moon Garden Cowl. And as I said, I've only made a tiny start on it. I got distracted with the from Monday. What is today? Thursday. I got distracted. I'll speak about that in a moment. So I just didn't get back to it. But there is later today, while this episode is being edited and uploaded. So I did start that. I am knitting that on my 3.5mm Chalkboard interchangeables. So they are. I really love my Chalkboard needles. I think I actually, the more I've used both the Chalkboard and the Haya, I think I prefer the Chalkboard just a little bit more than the Haya. Both are excellent, brilliant needles. I think I just prefer the cable for the Chalkboard. It has no memory at all, and it's just, yeah, no, I think I do. I prefer it. So anyway, that's what I'm knitting on, and I actually want to stock up on some extra tips. I seem to be running out of tips. Either that or I have too many whips, one or the other. That I seem to be running out of. I want to stock up on some of the tips that I use the most often, with some extra cables too. So I need to do that shortly, so I do. So that's what I did start during the week. So we'll go back to the Woodland Blanket that I was working on. Now this is the Woodland crochet blanket that Attic 24 is running over on her blog, and I'll put a link to it down below. Now I am in this is the pack of all the yarns, so I keep those in it and the blanket. Okay, I want to make sure that I have the right side that I'm showing to you. So I have this folded in half. So this is the progress I've made. I'll fold it again. This is the progress I've made so far. So last week I had done the starting chain and the first row of double crochet, and I had done the up to here. I'd done the next two stripes up to here, up to this green here, and so I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 colors. So this is my Woodland blanket. Isn't it lovely? It's gorgeous. I love the colours in it. This is, now I have it, this is a quarter. This is a quarter of its size. I have it folded in 4. This is going to be big enough to fit a 4-foot by 6-foot bed. So it is. And look, I have woven in all of my ends. I have one end left from the I think this is gold that I filled in. I've woven in all my ends. I have not woven in the ends from the starting chain and the first double crochet because that tells me when I'm working a right side row, and I know immediately when that's on the left hand side of me, I'm on a right side row, and so I don't have to look and be wondering and thinking. I just know. So I haven't finished those ones in for that reason, but all the other ends, and everything else gets joined on this end, and this is the back of it here. All the other ends are all woven in and finished, because I'm not leaving all of those ends until the end. Oh my god, no, that would be just, no, not doing that. I will weave them in as I'm going along. So that is my Woodland Cal, and yeah, I'm really loving how that's coming on, and I love adding in the colours. Now I'm following the stripe pattern that Lucy is working up. She does have a random one as well, but I'm not doing that one. I'm following the original one she made up for it, and you will find all the details and tutorials and the whole lot on the Attic 24 blog, and as I said, I will link to that down below. So that was what I did on Sunday. And as I said, I started the cal on Monday. I think that was it. Monday I spent quite a good bit of time planning a lot of what was going on in happening in the autumn. Not really planning, I suppose, maybe finalising the last few things. And I did have some yarn delivery on Monday. I got the black tulip and the wicker from Eden Cottage Yarns because I had ordered that last Thursday, and that came really quick because I had ordered that last Thursday, the black tulip and the wicker, and it had come on first thing on Monday morning, and it arrived with, at the same time I had also ordered this is Night Sky, again in the Melbourne 4-ply. Isn't this just wonderful? Oh, I love this colour. So I ordered a sweater's quantity of yarn for this. This is Night Sky in the Melbourne 4-ply. I just took that one out of the packet just to show you all, because the rest of it is it's in its packet. So I ordered a sweater's quantity of that yarn, and I have plans for perhaps designing a garment with that. So we'll see how that goes. What else arrived? Because I have all my yarn here beside me. What else arrived in that package? Oh, this also arrived. I ordered this from Eden Cottage Yarns. This is Copper Bucket in the Titus Titus lace. Now the Titus range from Eden Cottage Yarns is 75% merino wool and 25% silk, and it is in the lace, and it is in there is a 4-ply version, but this is the lace, and this is Copper Bucket. And I purchased three skeins of this, and that should be enough to knit out of the new Brooklyn Tweed collection. There was a lace weight jumper. I can't think of the name of it, but I'm going to put it up on the screen here now. And I want to knit that garment in this for myself. I think this would just be wonderful. I love this colour. Isn't that just the most wonderful colour? So I did get that. I also ordered in the Eden Cottage Yarns last update. This is Carlisle fingering, and this here is in the Cottage Garden colourway. And Carlisle fingering is 100% superwash merino wool. Now this is lovely natural shades with these browns and creams and sands, and then these splashes of pinks. This is gorgeous. Now I had a specific reason for this, for ordering this one, and it was to accompany these other 2 skeins of Carlisle fingering that I had purchased late last year. I had purchased one in Bark and one in Dahlia. I really love this Dahlia colourway. I'd really love a garment in this Dahlia colourway. I'm not sure on what base, but I love that colourway. Oh, it's just gorgeous. So I had these 2, and I had an idea for a new shawl with these, but I wanted something else to complete the idea, and so I picked up this cottage garden. So the 3 of these are what's going to make a new pattern, a new shawl pattern. And again, that's for the autumn. You must be so tired of me saying autumn, but that's what it's for. So I did purchase those. So I'm really excited to get these ones caked up, and I think these can be caked up over the weekend, ready to start. So I did get those. Yesterday I went to Trim, and there is a yarn store there. So I was going to go and just check it out. And while I was there, I picked up some sock yarn. I picked up this this skein of yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners in the signature 4-ply range. I love this. I love West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. It's just one of my favourites. I have to say I love all of the German commercial sock yarn. This is 75% wool and 25% nylon. I'm not sure what number it is. 6, I think. It doesn't have a name. But anyway, this I did pick up this 4-ply from West Yorkshire Spinners. And I also picked up two balls of, it's this Katia Ole socks, Aruba. And this is colour 51. Now there's 150 grams, which is 400 meters in this. So I suspect that this is a DK weight. I think it's a DK weight. It feels a lot heavier. And I actually think that this is more a DK weight. So if you know, can you just let me know? But I think that this is a DK weight. And this is, again, 75% wool and 25% nylon. And it's going to create, I think, a stripy sock. I just loved the colours in this. So I picked this up. And we'll see what that makes. And then I also picked up this, again, it's in the Katia Ole socks Aruba range. And again, it's the same, it's 150 grams for this ball. And it's 75% wool, 25% nylon. So I picked up that as well. And again, that will make some other stripy socks. So that's what I did. I picked that up. Then this morning, just before I got ready to record the podcast, I had ordered towards the end of last week from Elm Tree Yarns. I saw that Diane had put up a post on her Instagram feed about how she had this yarn that she was going to take advanced bookings for, the Blackbird Nest. And it was I think it was in 4-ply and DK, but I wanted the 4-ply, the sock yarn. And it is 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. And this is it here. It arrived this morning. Diane was dyeing this up at the weekend and then dispatching it and arrived this morning. Isn't that just fantastic? Look at those colours. Aren't they just? And then it comes with this complementing skein of yarn. Mini skein along with it. But isn't that just fantastic? And it is from Elm Tree Yarns. And I really, really love Diane's yarns for socks. They're just fantastic. So that arrived this morning with the postman. And oh, it was lovely. So yeah. And that is all of my purchases that I had for this week, and they really only arrived in this week. So yeah. So I think that really brings me to the end of this episode, because I'm as far as today. And as I said, while I'm editing and uploading this episode, I'm going to be working away on the other version of the Moon Garden Cal that I'm going to be working on, and getting the cuff of those socks finished. And after that we will see. And perhaps next week I will be back to you to chat about what I've done over the week. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit different to, I suppose, how the previous episodes have gone. So like I said, I hope you like it. It's a little bit more of an informal way of doing it. So I hope you liked it. And I will hopefully see you all again next week. I hope you have a very happy and knit-filled week. And perhaps I'll see you again next week. Happy knitting. Bye.